When you're in your 20s, money has this strange tendency to disappear. This is a weird phenomenon that's been going on for decades, and we're about to break down this mystery once and for all. Where does that money go? Number 1. Coffee pods, bottled water, avocados. More bottled water is sold in the US than milk and beer. According to Statista.com, in 2018, bottled water accounted for roughly 25% of average consumption in the United States, making it the most consumed type of beverage that year. In 2014, Americans spent over $13 billion on bottled water, and a gallon of water can cost anything from $1.60 up to $8 plus. Each person spends in the region of $100 on bottled water every year. And Aluxers, that's not taking into account the environmental damage being left behind. Then items like coffee pods or trending fruit like avocados all have shocking price tags attached to them. You're not going to be worse off drinking a more affordable coffee or getting your good fats from olive oil, fatty fish, or sunflower seeds. Number 2. Takeout and eating out. When you're in your 20s, it's all about convenience. You're busy, and preparing a meal is so time-consuming. 50 million Americans order takeout every day, contributing to an industry that's worth over $110 billion every year. Restaurants have around a 300% markup on their food, so if you pay $20 for a meal, technically you could whip up the same for about $5 at home. Of course, assuming you're using the same or similar ingredients. We realize that dining out is not just about the food, but the entire experience. But in your 20s, you do it so often it loses the appeal. It's no longer a spoil or indulgence. Same goes for takeout. If you're paying a premium for the convenience, but you're not saddled with kids or major responsibilities, you could have saved yourself a fair amount of money by cooking at home. Number 3. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables. CBSNews.com published an article written by Mitch Lipka highlighting the 5 most expensive pre-cut foods. He acknowledged that they do provide convenience for the consumer, but it comes at a cost. His prices reflect 2015, but the principle behind his findings remains the same. Potatoes, on average, were $1.26 a pound, but buy them cut and ready to pop into the oven, and you'll fork out around $3.11 a pound. Pineapples are not cheap in general, so one was costing about $2.75, but when cut and ready to eat, it would be in the region of $4.28 a pound. Kale per pound was around $2.80, but increases 317% when washed, trimmed, and cut up. Onions were 99 cents a pound, but cut up for you, $4.65 a pound. Unless you have goggles while chopping onions, we think the hike might be worth it this time. Green beans are usually around about $2.25 fresh, but $6.56 a pound when washed and cut up for use. By a little forward planning and dedicating a small amount of time to your weekly food prep, you could save a lot of money here in your 20s. And our channel is crammed with great comparatives and ways to save money, so be sure to subscribe and stay in the loop. Number 4. Energy drinks. Like American novelist Anne Brashares aptly puts it, I look back on my 20s. It's supposed to be the prime of your life, the most vital, the most beautiful, but you're making your critical decisions and sometimes your most critical mistakes. And in our 20s, we're on the go all the time. You could be chasing the dream job, dream partner, dream house, wedding, babies, travel, and it's exhausting. So, what do? We grab those energy drinks and drink them like water. Statista.com confirms that Red Bull is still the leading seller of energy drinks in the USA, followed by Monster Energy Drink. Aluxers, we're not saying never drink these, but they do cost $2.50 a pop, give or take, and that's money better utilized somewhere else. Number 5. Partying. A lot. We understand that one of the reasons you're reaching for that energy drink is because you had a rough night the previous evening. Everything in moderation. Having a good time is important, but having a good time every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday is not so great. BBC.com published results of a survey that found that most Britons spend on average 70p56 when they go out. 73% of participants aged between 18 and 30 claim to go out once a week. That's £280 a month, almost $400. Like one participant, Georgina, said, "If it's a Saturday evening, then I really try to budget 50 pounds with no food, but depending on where you go, that can be blown. Now I have Apple Pay on my phone, I just end up using that. Even if I'm really strict and only take cash and no card, I would say it can easily end up being 100 pounds. Then if you add a meal..." And Aluxers, of course, if you're going out, it means you need clothing, which we'll get into in a minute. First, number 6, makeup. MTU equals Makeup to You are makers of high-quality, trendy makeups priced 60 to 80% less than typical makeup brands. So how is that possible when you know the prices you've been paying for makeup of similar quality? They explain it in a clear-to-understand diagram why you're being charged a shit ton of money. Middlemen allow for a 2 times markup. Retailers add a 2 to 3 times markup themselves. Celebrities need their cut for their endorsement. Television ads need to be paid for. Staff need bonuses, and you, dear 20-year-old, pay for that each time you spend an outrageous amount of money on makeup. Shop around for good quality alternatives and stop lining the pockets of others that are lined enough already. Number 7, trendy clothing. Before you think we've lost the plot, we haven't. Alux, above all other channels, understands the importance of keeping on point, but we also know there's no value in buying trendy item after trendy item only to be worn once, maybe twice, and then never again. We don't encourage that kind of behavior, and in addition, it's just so bad for the environment. What we do suggest is saving up to buy a few decent classic pieces that will last you forever, which you can always accessorize to fit whatever is currently in fashion. We recommend you give one of our other videos a watch, 15 ways to put together a proper wardrobe, for some serious inspiration. Number 8, the car. When you hit your 20s, you start earning a bit of a decent salary, hopefully, and you decide it's time to buy the car. You know the one. You've wanted it forever, and now you can finally afford it. You think, sure, it's quite possible you're able to afford the monthly repayments, but things get a little hairy when you realize how insanely expensive it is to maintain a car and keep it on the road. For a start, fuel is currently around $2.70 a gallon. Until you're paying for your own fuel, you don't really realize just how much money it takes every month to drive around. Then you need to worry about keeping the car roadworthy. You need to keep the licensing up to date, brakes need to be replaced, tires changed, oil replaced, and those, Aluxers, are just the basics. It's not worth buying a car that's over your budget and then having to try and survive off instant ramen and water. Number 9, upgrading your tech products the moment a new model becomes available. Lifehacker.com wrote a noteworthy article over this exact issue and noted the following: "We overvalue the new because it's the latest thing presented to us. We tend to forget the old information, that the old product is also great, and supplement it with the new, that the new product is more great." Former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos called it the upgrade treadmill. Aluxers, the changes are incremental. If you're desperate for more or better, you can always add additional software, but it's not necessary to go to the expense of continuously replacing your outdated tech. Number 10, in-game purchases and currencies. While we're on the topic of technology, let's dive into in-game currencies and assets. Do you have any idea how much this is worth in game revenues every year? According to Medium.com, it's worth $100 billion. They add that over 47% of the 2.2 billion active gamers around the world spend their cash buying in-game currencies and assets. Aluxers, most of the time, this is a complete waste of money. For starters, you can't trade assets across games. You can't cash out, and there's often issues of asset ownership. You're better off saving that cash and putting it towards something tangible, like that car we just mentioned. Number 11, Lavish Weddings. In our video, 15 Reasons a Luxury Wedding Isn't Worth the Money, we mentioned you could have a down payment on a house if you were smart and didn't spend it all trying to impress a crapload of guests. We gave this example. A Federal Housing Administration or FHA loan usually has a minimum down payment of 3.5% of the total cost of the property. So, if you were to purchase a property for $300,000, you would only need to put down a $10,500 deposit. The average cost of a wedding is over $33,000. So if you didn't spend that much, you'd be able to put down a down payment for a property, which is a far better use of your finances in your 20s. Number 12. Gym memberships. Aluxers, a Planet Money podcast, had an interesting take on gyms. In their opinion, gyms need their members not to come, but they can't just lock the doors. They can't tell people not to show up, so they have to rely on consumer psychology to get you excited enough that you'll sign up for a gym membership, but not so excited that you'll get up an hour early to do some crunches before work. And honestly, you can have super effective workouts in and around your home. Grab some friends for motivation and go do what you love, while also saving a lot of hard-earned cash being thrown at the gym you hardly go to. But best of luck canceling your contract. They're some of the most watertight contracts in the world. Number 13. University. We've got some solid advice that will save you a lot of money, and you'll enjoy a whole lot more than slogging it out year in, year out at university. Watch our video 15 Ways to Get Educated Faster and Cheaper, where we suggest streaming great educational content using open courseware or opting for online courses that are far cheaper and faster. These choices need to be made in your teens, though, so that when you're in your 20s, you're not bogged down by the debt incurred in tertiary education. Like dentist Katie in Minneapolis is quoted as saying, "I'm a 28-year-old dentist. I'm married and I have a 10-month-old son. I have $380,000 in student loan debt." Now, we don't suggest you start streaming how to be a dentist, but for less riskier careers, there's a lot you can learn online. Try our Bitcoin Essentials course by Alux.com, the best blockchain and Bitcoin course for those who want to get started with crypto. The course is easy to understand, follow along with, and get started no matter your technical level. Number 14. Holidays or festivals you can't afford. We're all about travel and experiences, but you don't need to go to every single festival, and every holiday doesn't need to be some exotic destination. If these trips and excursions are putting you under severe financial strain, but you have intense FOMO, try and think about the FOMO you'll have when your peers are putting deposits on houses or paying off their student loans years before you do. And if you do struggle with FOMO, try remembering the words of Stephen Furtick, who said, "The reason we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes with everybody else's highlight reel." Number 15. Renting a place way above your means. Sure, it looks good to say you live in an exclusive address in your city, but if it's eating away at your already dwindling budget, why would you continue to do it? Stop wasting your money on an address and find a place that's more affordable in a less exclusive area. You'll find your living arrangements will have more space, a bigger garden, off-street parking, and are probably pet-friendly. Plus, if you're not spending all your money on rent, you'll have a little extra to invest in some timeless wardrobe pieces, or taking a holiday that doesn't leave you totally out of pocket with nothing but that instant ramen. So, Aluxers, what was the dumbest purchase you made in your 20s? We always love hearing from you in the comments. And of course, you stuck with us until the end, and we've got a bonus. Narcotics. One of the biggest wastes of money, and according to sbtreatment.com, drug use is the highest among people in their late teens and 20s. In 2013, 22.6% of 18 to 20-year-olds reported using an illicit drug in the past month. Not only is that a waste of money, but it makes you look older before your time. It affects your mood, affects those you love, and can be very difficult to quit. If you're struggling, Aluxers, we recommend you reach out for help. As always, thanks for spending some time with us. We value your support. Pop us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe if you'd like to see some more.